Well, what do you know? I'm live! I sincerely hope that you can hear me over the fan. I'll try to speak up. There's no way this fan is going off. The Center for Racial Equity is housed in a place that I am very grateful for. It has its challenges. I look green because they won't let me paint, and there are no windows here. So it's sweltering in San Diego right now, and so I've got a fan that I am not turning off for love nor money. So I hope that you are going to be able to bear with me. Something interesting happened yesterday, and I found out later that it was happening for a lot of people, but for a hot minute I got very concerned. As you know, Lace on Race is not any stranger at all to bans and spankings and whatnot from our platform overlords. And I thought yesterday was one of those days. Turns out I was probably wrong about that, but I wound up putting, as Sting would say, messages in bottles and throwing them out into the Facebook universe, both on my personal page and also at Lace on Race itself. And I got my bottles returned. It was very interesting. I am very glad that Facebook decided that this message of all messages, because basically I said something like, I think I've been shadow banned. If you get this, could you give me a short comment? And that little innocuous sort of, if you can see me, give me a thumbs up, snowballed. As of right now, about 4:30 Pacific time, I think that the post has about 2,000 to 2,220 individual page views, about 150 emojis, and about 60 to 70 people who gave me that thumbs up in the comments. I can't tell what that looks like on my personal page. We don't get metrics there. But I want to actually specifically speak to Lace on Race. Once I decided that it probably wasn't any nefarious dealings from the Zuckerverse. And in fact, when I went back to Facebook later that day, I noticed that there were some new functionalities on the mobile experience on Android, and that probably made for the glitch. There's no such thing as favorites as see first anymore, but there's favorites. You can sort your feed a lot better, and I suppose ostensibly at least it gives you a little bit more control. But I assume that just like here in our little teeny tiny corner of the universe, when Laura makes some changes, Laura makes changes over here and something happens over here, and I'm pretty sure that that's what happened here. But it did bring some people out of the woodwork, both on my personal page and here at Lace on Race. Some people whom I hadn't seen in a long time, and also some people who I've never seen before at all. And it's to these two cohorts that I want to direct attention to, and I will. There is the post. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see it. You won't have to scroll far, and you'll see the different responses. And you'll see some of my key pivots once it was determined that it probably wasn't anything nefarious or anything to worry about. And believe I asked, and I do think the worst. One of the challenges of having a web presence and a Facebook presence and a Twitter and an Instagram presence where people have made mischief is that you assume that mischief is to be made. And that mischief happens in various ways. It happens in our being reported a lot, both as an organization and me personally. It happens in terms of people attempting to hijack our site, both on the Facebook page and on the website. And so when a glitch happens, Lace's, let's just say Lace's amygdala goes into overdrive, and that entire HPA system goes just a little bit haywire, and I am thinking the worst. Let's be honest about that, and we'll talk about it later. That's something of a trauma response, actually. Something happens, and instead of going to the most plausible explanation, as doctors say, common things are common. Oh, it's probably just a Facebook glitch. Oh, it'll resolve itself. I am already henny penny thinking the sky is falling. The sky is falling. And that's because for the last 18 months, it's been not a week goes by when a piece of the sky has fallen and hit my noggin. So it actually becomes rational to be a little pessimistic and even perhaps a little paranoid. What's going to happen now? But it wasn't the case here. And so I did. I put the little sort of, I sent out flares, and I'm looking here at the Facebook page itself. I sent out flares, and I got quite a few responses back. I want to put that in context, though. When I say quite a few responses, it is not a huge response. Oh, that's funny, because actually since I went to Lace on Race, I thought that I wanted to see me. I see me. I'm right here. Hi, Lace! But anyway, when I was looking at this, I was also looking at very specific metrics. I decided that I actually wanted to do something of a deep dive, which is odd for me. I don't like to go by numbers, so I don't pay a whole lot of attention to them. I don't like to, I'm not one of these people that sit there and sees whether or not her likes have gone up or down, whether or not her page views or her engagement levels have gone up or down. I realize that those are metrics that other organizations and businesses might use, but I don't. But in this case, it was interesting to be able to see this. So I put this out, actually I can tell you when I put it out. Well, it says a day ago. I put it out a day ago. And as of this moment, gotta bring it close because I'm blind, as of this moment, 2,460 people were reached, 131 thumbs up emojis, and I did the count earlier today. By now there's a few more, but it slowed down to a trickle. So let's just say between 60 and 80, 70 unique respondents out of 10,000. Now, we know that Facebook is responsible for some of it, and we know some of the reasons why, and I'm going to go into it later on. But we also know that Facebook isn't totally only responsible. Facebook does hold you hostage. That's absolutely true. Just because, and this is a common misconception amongst Facebook consumers, and I thought this for a long time until I became a Facebook content creator. Hate that term. Since I started working with Facebook, I really thought that my hitting like or subscribe or follow would actually help the content creator, and it does to a point, but it is not a silver bullet by any means. What it means is that Facebook knows you exist and that you like the page and that they can sort of bundle you and sell you to me. One of the interesting parts of Facebook is that, I'm going back here, Facebook tells me, where is it? Facebook tells me my audience. Let me put it here. My audience. I'm not sure if you can see this. There it is. It shows me my audience at any given moment of any given day. It does not tell me who that audience is. It tells me that I have 224 friends out of a possible 700 who like the page Lace on Race, but except for a few thumbnail pictures, it doesn't tell me who they are, and it's almost impossible to find out. So I certainly can't reach out to you individually. we're a page, not a group, so I don't have to allow anyone in. That's on purpose. This is an opt-in, opt-out space, but it also means that outside of rough numbers, I don't know who stays or goes in a given day. I know if there's a net positive or a net negative. I don't know very much about engagement. That is to say, I don't know that if you saw it and if you clicked through to it, and then if you commented, and then if you responded. There's very little I know, which is kind of a problem with Facebook itself. It's for their benefit. It's for their aggrandizement. I mean, I read something, oh my goodness, years ago, even before I started becoming a Facebook creator, and it said, if something is offered to you for free on the internet, make no mistake, you are the product. So what they're doing is they are seeing who likes me and who wants to subscribe to me and then selling you back to me. Here's the problem though. They think that we're a political space, not a social justice space. And before we got official nonprofit designation, they didn't recognize us as such. And in fact, we're still going through the process for Facebook to recognize that we are 501c3. And by the way, that process is harder than the IRS. Meanwhile, though, it is very hard to run what they call a boosted post or an ask. One thing, it's expensive. To get even a guaranteed reach of 1/10 of you is going to be no less than $100. And with with our revenues dropping 25% once I retired in 2020, and another 25 to 30% once Holly did her mischief in February of 2021, $100 is hard to come by. So I can't easily boost. That is why, as you're going to see when I do some more shorts where I take each and every pivot takeaway that you'll see if you scroll down in that posting, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to read some of them to you. That is why there is such a concerted push to move over to the website. The website is where we have more control. We have control over bad actors. We have control over who sees us. But that means you guys are going to have to exercise more discipline than you have. I've said this all the time. You cannot depend on Facebook to give you lace on race in your feed. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'd be willing to bet my Michelada money that I am the most ardent supporter of and booster of the Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity. I don't think it's any secret that I love it, and I think it's great, and I think everyone should do it. I do not get posts in my personal Facebook feed from Lace on Race. Maybe one a week, and I'm always shocked when I see it. I mean, it's like, whoa, who's this? You have to come to the page. That's part of the discipline. And in fact, I really don't mind it. That's part of the discipline that I've been trying to instill in all of you. That you can't depend on a corporation who will be okay with nebulous, sort of meaningless gestures towards racial justice, whatever, but will definitely suppress you if you start getting into specifics. You really are going to trust them to tell you everything you need to know, not just about Lace on Race, but on any sort of issue or social justice concern. You can't. I mean, sometimes I'm really surprised that they let me stay on Facebook, but they don't make it easy. They don't make it easy. We're doing our best to make it easier for you to be able to find us, and we're doing our best to be able to be in other places. But that means we have to also deal with bad actors. I basically don't have a Twitter presence anymore because there are people who have basically made sure that it has become not exactly a place of safety for me. and they say pretty awful things, and when they can, they get on the website, which is why we took 2 weeks to tighten up the website, as well as deal with Buddy Boss. Kill two birds with one stone. Why they sometimes do their mischief here on the page. It's the same thing with Instagram. And since there aren't a lot of good actors who follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and more crucially, good actors who are willing to stand up to the bad actors, that leaves me very exposed and very alone. You can go on my Twitter and you can see just how virulent and how unkind they are. Most of you, if you've been here for longer than a year and a half, you've already seen it, and it's not. I suppose there are worse things that could have happened to me over the last 18 months. My mama died. That was worse. But in terms of building a community, and in terms of making a woman with, let's just say, challenges that I don't talk about very much, but that they're there, make it that much harder to go to a place where I know I'll be excoriated. Makes it harder for me to do asks, because as much as I hate doing an ask, asking you for money, shaking you down for money, I have to do it, because left to yourselves, you won't financially engage. But I have to start doing it. As much as I have enjoyed being here, I'm almost 60 years old. I can't work 2 or 3 jobs anymore. If I have to find another job, then I don't know what I'm going to do. And there are 10,000 of you. The same people who make their mischief and who are unkind have, they sort of taunted me in another way. Hey, Lace, you act like you're so disappointed in the people who follow you. You act like you're disappointed. Well, yeah, whoa, stop. What if I told the truth and said, yes, I am. I'm disappointed that there are 10,000 of you who all talk a really good game. But at the end of the day, don't support me or other Black creators, because it would be one thing if you didn't support me. But if you're not supporting someone else, that's not about me. If you used what happened 18 months ago as an excuse to step away, and I'm seeing some of you in this little Facebook glitch right now, and now you're back, I always have to figure out which side is because Facebook always makes it go this way or that way. Left is right, right is left. Facebook and white supremacy and internalized racism and timidity from white folks that also masks a deeper misogynoir. I told you this is the week of fearlessness, y'all. Makes it easy to find reasons to back off of convictions. We saw it last night when basically people would say, I'm coming back, but they didn't come back. Same in that post with the Handmaid's Tale, the blue dress. I'm thinking, I'm marinating, I'm coming back, and then they don't. White people really need to learn how to make promises and then live up to them. Because a lot of times, from the perspective of marginalized people who are taking huge risks to engage, to teach, to mentor, we take way more risks than you do. We get punched in the face a lot. And maybe during this new world that we are all living in since last Friday, maybe white people could stand to learn how to switch that up. We're going to be talking about that. So I am going to do an ask today. It's going to be different than what you normally get, but then again, you haven't gotten an ask from me in almost 2 months. And revenues, as low as they were, dropped even lower. I hate asks. I hate them. I cry when I'm writing them. I cry before I tape them. I cry after I tape them. Because I know I'm going to lose you. I know I'm going to lose people. I know my numbers will go down because, well, some of it is racialized, some of it isn't, but some of it is. And we're going to talk about the piece that's racialized. But first, let's talk about the piece that it's in. For 20 years now, over 20 years, people have been on the internet and they're used to getting stuff free. They don't like to pay for things. Why should I pay for this? I already pay Spectrum or Cox or Time Warner or whoever your internet provider is. You know, I already pay Verizon and T-Mobile and Sprint. Why should I have to pay the person who brings this to me? And that's exponentiated when the person in question is black. And when the person in question is a woman. And when the person in question is an unambiguously black woman. We are allowed, and we've seen this time and time again, we're allowed to raise money on everybody's behalf, but seemingly our own. We'll talk about this during the ask, but if you choose to financially engage with the Laysan Race Center for Racial Equity, you're kind of not choosing to partner with me alone. I am an employee, a contractor, more accurately, a 1099 contractor to the Center for Racial Equity. Once we became a 501c3, I no longer owned it. They do pay me. They pay me a compensation package, which includes both my salary and a health care package, and I am about 70% of the revenues. Right now, about 80% because the revenues are so low. 10,000 of you should make short work of our very modest budget goals. 10,000 of you should be able to make it so that no one has to apologize for the fact that a black woman, this one, is making a living wage. That's not taking money out of mouths. That's not scamming anyone. That's not being a cult leader. If we go around talking about the worth of black women, then y'all need to mean it. Y'all need not to be resentful and punishing when a black woman actually makes enough to afford the 49-cent soda at the Chevron station on Massachusetts and Broadway in Lemon Grove. You shouldn't want to punish a black woman because she can pick up the tab for two of her elders at it's not a Greasy Spoon diner. The spoons are quite clean. I've been going there for years. At a diner like Daily Grind in the college area. Like I said, in a more joking way, no one is a more ardent supporter of the Laysan Race Center for Racial Equity than Lace Watkins. In case you're wondering, that's me. When I was talking about the salary that I have, I am very aware of the fact that I am the elephant in the room, the 800-pound elephant. When you financially engage with Laysan Race, you are very much making it possible for the center to pay me for the work that I provide to you and to the center. What you don't hear about is the fact that I give about $1,000 a month of it back, because there are things that I know that because of reduced revenue, the center can't pay for. The center can't pay for this space, for example. Where the center is housed, I pay for it. They can't afford to pay for the studio space. I pay for it. I shouldn't have to. I pay for my own travel. I pay for my own periodicals and books. I pay for my own pencils. I don't submit for those. I shouldn't be doing that, though. And we'll talk about that more during the ask. But I want to bring it back to the takeaways from yesterday. I haven't finished crunching the numbers, and when I'm finished crunching the numbers, you'll see it in the essay and you'll see it in the next video. But out of all of those people, 95% I had never seen before. And out of the 5% that remained, 90% of those were names I hadn't seen for at least a year or two. I got private messages, and you'll see up and down in the thread yesterday, both on my personal feed and in Laysan Race, how essential the work is, especially now, and how appreciated and respected I am. And here I am trying to figure out whether or not I should apply to Carl's Jr. or McDonald's first. Yesterday should have been very affirming, should have been very validating. Look, all these people see me. But it was also very poignant and more than a little activating. Thanks for seeing me. Now support me. Now put your money where your mouth is. And if not me, and we're going to talk about it in the ask, if not me, if you don't want to support me, if you don't want to support LORCRE, then you better find someplace where you do. Before this, it's about 5, maybe a few hours ago, 2 of leadership team, Vicki and Jesse and I, were sitting down and mapping out our community partners for the next, well, if you count this month, for the next 6 months, for the next 6 months. And we are going to be doing themes. And I'd like to do 2. We used to do 2. With revenues cut in more than half in the last 18 months, we've been reduced to doing 1. I'd like to get back up to 2. I'd like to get to 3. There's no reason for a group this size to not be able to support and fund in meaningful ways the things that you all say you care about. The reason that we set up the Lace on Race community partners was because early on I would say, please support me. If not me, then who? And there would be crickets in the comments. No one would say. So we decided to do it for you. Hey, here's some people that we have vetted and that we are going to fund from First Fruits. That is to say, we fund them regardless of whether or not you all help. But y'all need to help. In order to do that the month after with First Fruits, we need to have this now. And you all need to practice being able to give, if not profligately, then definitely somewhat sacrificially and regularly. We have already seen some of the outcome of the 2022 elections, and the odds are better than even that not one single person that swept in the rising tide of 2020 and the Black Spring will be seated after midterms in November. And a lot of that reason is money. I have to say this because I'm talking about politics. Lace on Race is a 501c3, and as such, we take no position on individual candidates or on political parties. What I can do and what I will do is look at trends, whether or not I like the policies of Ms. Presley or Ms. Omar. The fact is that they're vulnerable. And regardless of what I think of them or what I think of the party that they're a part of, if I feel that they are in alignment, at least to the point that any political party or national political figure can be part of the ethos of an alignment with the ethos of Lace on Race, then I would think that I, were I a private citizen, would be able to make discernments. And by the way, I am a private citizen. Right now I'm speaking to you as Executive Director of the Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity, but when you see me in my capacity as just plain Lace Janine Watkins, I can and do have political opinions. So we are going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at what we can do to live it out in this new world. And that does not mean backing down, and that does not mean lying down. It means doubling down. I'm so glad that so many people saw that one little post that tells me something. If you saw that post, the odds are better than even that you've seen at least one other post. I'm glad that you poked your head out and said hi. Oh, I should be nice. Hi! Thank you. But I need more than your hello. I need more than your greeting. Why this message and not all the other ones? Why aren't you coming to the page every single day or 2 days or weeks? I'm not giving you a prescription. I'm not giving you a mandate. You do what you can or will. But if you want to do this work well, you can't just see me when it's easy to see me. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? It is almost 30 minutes. I am going to stop here. I welcome your comments. In fact, I am actively soliciting them. Just like some other posts that we've put up, I'm going to keep rerunning posts until I get at least 100 unique responses. You all need to learn discipline and faithfulness, especially after the events of last Friday. And you're not going to learn it the way you're doing it. We'll talk more about this. We'll talk more about the fact that the least important thing that I bring you is the essay or the video or the meme. The meat of the matter, the name of the game is in the comments. We need to get better at living out what we say we want to live out, or we all just need to, I don't know, go home, drink White Claw, and binge watch something on Hulu. And watch our country be taken away from us. Most forcibly and most certainly by the most marginalized. I can't live with that. I cannot live with that. And if you can't either, join me. I'm going to be putting something down below in that post from yesterday reminding people to come here. I want your comments. I want them everywhere. I love you. More to come.